Perfect.
Miss.
Very tentative. And the golden ball is still on the table. I think he might swoop in and take it off after this. Indeed. That's a really good pot, you know. You come to a snooker tournament.
He's got a chance here, Luca, to get into the pack of reds straight away. He's taken the chance, but he's just caught the knuckle. And he's gone round the whole lot of them.
They haven't, but Brecel has won their two most recent meetings, and big ones they were. Shanghai Masters last 16 of the World Championship in 2023. Brecel won 13-11 and of course went on to lift the trophy. And because of the way he played in that match, Williams is well aware of just how good he can be. That was what... Has the cue ball travelled far enough for Will?
One.
Well, he's added top side now. Here's a Mark Williams special into the reds. Look at that shot. The underarm shot. How does he do that?
No one has ever been better.
I mean, if you've ever tried to play a shot like that, it's the most uncomfortable thing in the world. But Mark, that's always been a bit of a specialist for him.
Mark Williams, would say.
When Brecel came out of nowhere to win the World Championship, he beat Ronnie O'Sullivan. He came back from 14-5 down to beat C. Sholway in the semi-finals, Mark Selby in the final. But I thought it was his performance against Williams that, in terms of pure fluency and steel, that was the one that stood out for me.
Yeah, to beat a player of that class over that sort of distance. I mean, if you can't take any confidence from results like that, then when can you? Be over the longest distance we have in the game. That was so impressive.
Nothing impressive in this frame yet from either player, but typical opener.
One.
His shot selections don't always
Cue ball enough. He can find that little path into those reds. Doesn't need too much pace on this. Just a controlled pace like that, and that's absolutely perfect.
Let's see. See.
Maybe it's at hand. Made 2 centuries in his first match here against Zhang Anda, and those 2 centuries doubled his total for the season. And yet, now...
Yeah, and incredibly, and I say incredibly because I don't think anyone would have predicted this coming. Played good against world champion Kyron Wilson yesterday. He said in his interview, as he plays a terrible positional shot there,
41.
needed a lot more of it. Although this one won't make him feel good. That cue ball needed to run another foot.
Always been one to try and knock in a plant. Sometimes it comes off, sometimes it can prove expensive. On this occasion,
Luca Brecel.
yeah.
And again, another long one goes astray. He's attempted a couple with this frame mark. So chance for Luca to put the finishing touches to this opening frame.
One.
And we were tossed how poor by his standards this season has been. To give you an indication of that, if more than double, he's prize money for the entire campaign so far.
No. Sixteen.
Easy use of side that Brecel
32.
can call on. Target, but Luca Brecel, aided by breaks of 41 and 39, draws first blood. He leads Mark Williams 1-0.
Errors there, Mark, that quite uncharacteristic for him. You want to try and right those wrongs in this frame now. Again, still very short sprints, these matches. Semi-finals, best of 7 still. The stakes are just ramped up massively as well. Both players on a guaranteed 75,000.
First round, last 32, last 64, last 16. And then Brecel's 2 wins, both in last 16s as well. Going to give you an odd man out question, Stephen. 4 players left.
I've got no idea.
Mark Williams. He's the only player of the 4 to qualify for the Champion of Champions so far, having won the Champion of Champions. So the other 3, if they prevail.
Well, he did come round and have a little look at that red. Emptied that. Red onto red. Well, he's played a pretty good shot then. You'll have black to corner, pink to opposite middle. Big shot.
Eight.
And that's...
Yeah, it's actually really intimidating sometimes when you're watching and even play. Difficult to do that. You know, you quite often see players who tend to err on the side of cueing the ball more positively. Career. Red directly beneath it will pass to this right corner as well. That then releases the two beneath it to the left corner.
Yes, Kyron wasn't happy yesterday.
29.
That's just a now overwhelming majority of tour players don't use that particular brand. But he's contravening no rule whatsoever.
Well, we talk about what a great shot maker he is, Mark Williams, and he certainly made one with the initial red. It was a clever shot, right corner pocket. There was enough traffic to cover it had he have missed it, and he also got a good cue ball as well, so there was a lot of motive behind that shot. The byproduct of that.
$45. $53.
After reaching the final of the Saudi Arabia Snooker Masters, the World Ranking event, early September, I thought Mark Williams had made a grave error by changing his cue. Lost to Ben Wollaston. Then at the British Open, lost to Moore of Malaysia, both his opening matches. The tip was making a horrible sound.
67.
And yet he's become completely used to it, and now, seems to me, Stephen, is as good as ever. So I was completely incorrect. But at least I wasn't alone. Most people thought the same.
70.
Final in Saudi Arabia, you know, he was desperately unlucky not to win that. Well, he wasn't unlucky. It was pure brilliance from Judd Trump to win that for that little something extra, even if, you know, nothing's missing.
He plays with a tip that most players couldn't cope with. It's so hot.
Nothing else but the sound when he strikes the cue ball. Listen to this. It just makes the tin.
Well, when he lost to Rory Thor, I think the sound of running your fingernails down a chalkboard, I think we've got used to it now.
88.
And the decision is certain.
$96.
$25 on the season.
103. Mark Williams.
Unable to double the last red, but what?
Luca Brecel to break.
Kevin Dabrowski announcing the start of the third frame. Interesting beginning. First frame, nothing to write home about. The second, though. When it comes to that shot to nothing red, no one knocks it in more.
It's a shot that he's clipping thin. Very, very accurate.
Mark Williams, 1.
Nestling behind the green, which he's done. But with a target as wide as this, shouldn't be an issue.
Well, you say that, Phil. And worse yet for Luca. if this red goes in, he should have a nice angle on the black to get into the pack. Oh, he needs that cue ball to pull up.
Yellow ball.
Had that cue ball have pulled up, he would have had a nice angle to pot the black and screw into the pack. This time Mark nominates yellow and fails.
Foul. Miss. Mark Williams 1.
Yeah, and it was the sort of thing you would never imagine you'd possibly leave a free ball, but that's what's happened. And this time Luca does get into the pack of reds.
Six.
To be and very good at it. You might recall one of the breaks he made yesterday. Lots of yellows and greens and browns involved.
Of course, he can just screw back for the blue, but may mean he's a bit closer to the side rail than he would have liked. There you see, that's why he's played harder out to get top side. He would have been close to that side rail. So again, Phil just taking his medicine, playing for the baulk colours, happy to do so. Now has this one gone wrong?
When you're taking that cue ball on a big journey, more opportunity for things to go
Luca Brecel.
a little out of kilter.
Again, this the sort of shot Mark Williams usually so reliable with, just finding that very thin edge. Look at that. There's just nothing wrong with those mince pies. And it's a sort of shot you see played so often now in the modern game because the balls, well, because the cloths are so responsive, the reds open very easily. You know, players often err on the side of caution to avoid pushing anything over the corner pockets, catching those thin edges and finding them.
He's in, banging.
Yeah, he can just put all his attention into the pot here. Surely the reds are going to hold up the cue ball for him. Oh, but he's overcut it. Well, he's missed it by some way as well. Failed to do the first thing, and that was pot the ball. So, chance refalls back to Mark Williams.
Brecel missed, but at that pace, he couldn't have rolled off that much. No way. That was pilot error.
May can play a delicate little cannon or can stun across for the black into the opposite corner. He's gone for the little cannon. That's okay.
Good debris on the cloth. Judge that cannon on the cloth, but he's not going to be annoyed. He's not that kind of character. Takes things in his stride, Stephen.
Yeah, and he won't let that affect his focus or concentration, will he? You know, he's such an experienced...
And of course, 32-year professional career, Williams would have used the chalk that Brecel's using now. The advent of the very quickly when they realise the benefits. Not just the messiness of the table, it's a big bounce off the cushion. He hates that.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's your bread and butter on the line out there when you're playing. It's sometimes all or nothing, particularly in... There's a lot at stake for those players, and you try and do everything you can to control the outcomes yourself. But, of course, sometimes kicks and heavy contacts, bouncing to work on. I've had a couple of horrendous kicks in my time that really have cost me frames and matches, and, you know, enough was just enough.
42.
Ronnie is beginning to beckon. That will be enough to leave Brecel requiring a snooker.
50. $58.
And the disappearance of that red of the Welshman.
Yeah, and still the outside chance of a century. Needs this black to drop.
The second frame is followed by a half century in the third. He was 1-0 down. Now he's 2-1 up. Williams will be... And these best of sevens can quickly get away from you. Last couple of frames, though, he's been right on it.
Although Mark Williams has done the better of the scoring in this match, breaks of 58 and 103. Again, clever little shot that Mark's played there. Lots of right-hand side to straighten the cue ball.
The Reds quickly have spread far and wide. So if anyone gets in, they could make plenty. Oh, that's lovely. That is lovely. Not just the contact, but this
was a brilliant shot that Mark had played. You know, it's clearly on for Luca there, but he just daren't play it.
Oh, miss. Mark Williams 4.
Again, if he doesn't catch this just right, a little bit too thick, and he could stick Mark well in amongst them here. And there you see, he was up very quickly, he knew, and now he's hoping, praying. And that's the byproduct, the result of that brilliant safety shot that Mark Williams played. Didn't look much, but I can't tell you enough how difficult that shot was that he played. Brilliant shot than this red. But positionally, it offers a better chance of landing nice on a colour. Yeah, that's a great pot again. He needs the cue ball to slow up, and it isn't going to.
1.
Brecel going to be in a heap of trouble. Impact.
Oh! Wow! Would you? Oh, look at the cannon he's had.
1.
How has he landed?
Working on the premise, he might fluke one, but that's with position attached. Wow.
I mean, for that to happen at any stage, it hurts, but this is such a big match. There's so much prize money at stake. Okay, we're still...
$70.
Years and years ago, there was a lower-ranked pro from South Africa. He would have been laughing his head off at that one.
You know, sometimes your opponent is just going to throw their arm at one. Luca was in trouble there. He could find no... What can you do? That is just completely out of Mark Williams' hands there. Unbelievable.
28.
The most outlandish
29.
fluke I've ever seen was in the Championship League, Scott Donaldson. But it was a very low kick, very high profile, high stakes. And apart from the fluke itself, position was obtained also. It was a double whammy.
I mean, we could sit and watch
37.
this shot all day because we didn't know where to look, but look at that. Smashes the balls, red off a red, cue ball in and out of balk, threads through everything. Nice little cannon, just to develop those two reds as well. Hold for the black. With it, and so far so good. Luca's taken these nicely. Okay, he was absolutely plumbing amongst them, but he's still got to stand up and pot the balls. Think about while he's sat there in his chair watching him on, probably thinking that these points should have been his.
52.
Give Brecel credit though. I think it's sometimes quite tough to maintain concentration in those kind of circumstances, and yet he, after the apology, just seemed...
Experience you obviously get, the more battle scars you sort of have to endure.
59.
I think you get to the point where push the blue safe, get the cue ball up in behind the green on the cushion.
Luca Brecel. 59.
Well, a small measure of consolation for Williams. At least he didn't lose the frame directly. And still not over the line. 59.
He doesn't need to play on a red either. Yeah, that's a great shot. No intention of playing for a red.
Luca Brecel. 7.
Again,
Balks the cue is a massive reason as to why there's so much chalk on the table. He really lathers it on, and you know, years ago you would often see a player chalk the cue and he just cracks on. And of course, upon contact, tip to cue ball, that excess chalk then leaves the tip and then goes on the cloth.
Brecel just
Well, from the sublime to the ridiculous we've seen in this frame, yeah, maybe trying to just cross double this blue. If this doesn't go in, I think there might be a concession in this frame. Right, it's close. Oh. So he might just have to take his medicine here, Mark. Play for the pink. He's got a guaranteed red-black after this, and then possibly a guaranteed ball in behind the black. Send the red back up into balk. There's a couple of balls, yellow or green, quite a inviting target to get that red near. Chance of a free ball. Table, white in behind the black. can hit this red just to the side cushion beneath the middle pocket, send it over, try and get it close to a ball colour. It's a pretty good effort.
20.
Yeah, if you're going to miss it to that side, because that just ensured you couldn't possibly lead.
Needs one more snooker.
It's quite an active target in that area of the table. Luca taking full advantage of it.
Escape.
Yeah, that's what he's chosen. I don't blame him for that, because had the red not have gone in, he may have left. Just trying to bide his time here. And the patience has paid off.
Luca Brecel 4. When conceded frame, Luca Brecel.
Mark Williams concedes. There was more to that frame than just the fluke alone. But what a fluke it was. Maybe it will be a turning point. Two.
Luca Brecel to break.
Lots of pressure attached.
Classic Mark Williams there, just before the frame commenced, just I mean, Dabrowski. That was a good fluke, wasn't it? He's so calm and composed, isn't he? Just so nonchalant out there. Not a care in the world. Just laughs it off.
Does have moves, though, Mark Williams. Quite often he'd shake his head. It looked as though he wasn't in position on a particular ball, and then after some prevarication, he'd get down and knock it in sweet as a nut. Now that is guaranteed to get the other guy a little hotter.
It's the worst thing, actually, when you sat in your chair watching your opponent at the table, sort of moaning that they're on nothing, and then 2 shots later they've knocked it in, back plumb. Mark playing the swerve round there to try and just catch the edge of the pack. He did do, but caught it slightly too thin. But no damage done. There was a red available to left corner, but far too risky for Luca because he couldn't get his cue ball threaded. Again, Mark trying to find the thin edge of this red. Just caught it a little thicker, and that's the reason, you know. You catch that safety shot slightly too
slightly hampered queuing over the brown, so that had to be potted. From one standpoint, Steve, than Williams, because in 2024 it's been a golden time for the Welshman. Not so.
Okay, he feels like he's playing well and he's just not been getting the results, but ultimately the results don't lie, and the fact that he hasn't had many this season, this, you know, has given him a real big... Everything from here on out is a bonus now. But make no mistake, he'll want to win.
Bear in mind, this is someone,
16.
Brecel, who, if you include the World Championship earlier this year, when he lost in the first round defending, had lost or failed to fluke, and the way he lost frame 4 will drift away. They'll still be in the back of his mind, but they won't be to the forefront.
But again, look, never misses a trick, Mark, to try and bring more ball. Drop this and play a delicate little cannon. Ago, Mark decided to open that pink spot, just give himself more options. But that one's gone wrong, you can see. Just trying to be too cute, too close to his next ball.
Mark Williams, 12.
All thinkers when it comes to snooker. It's as though they read a situation.
He very, very rarely misses it, and he very, very rarely catches it too thick. It's always perfect as Luca finds, oh, nearly another fluke.
One.
The crowd applaud, and rightfully so. Potting that yellow in itself was tough, especially at pace.
Four.
Oh, that's not good from Mark. Knuckle.
Mark Williams, 9.
Well, there was nothing lucky about that. Once of the knuckle, the middle pocket was not intended. But the brown being off its spot meant that navigating in and out of baulk was no issue.
6.
Absolutely certain that that red was going to go in.
7.
The crucial part of the deciding frame against Judd Trump was the way that Williams, in one fell swoop,
Let's say.
developed a couple of reds from the top cushion. This time, he's got 3.
Ideally would like an angle off the pink. Just slightly high of straight.
14.
Plenty of pace. Come across and develop the reds. That's what he's tried. Good attempt. Now, has he just pushed a plant onto this right corner? It's always quite a difficult shot to convince yourself how to play it. If he doesn't go for it, he's got to catch the first red incredibly thin. Plenty of left-hand side to get back up to baulk to avoid pushing that red over this corner, and that's exactly what he's done.
Mark Williams, 20.
Left side. It's a good intention, but just not executed as well as he would have hoped.
1.
Yeah, one away from a place in the final. Yeah, pink was a nice ball to play on there. There's the first cushion, and there's the second cushion. Now needs it to run. Playing it that way just increased his chances, increased the area for the cue ball to land on.
20.
Good pot with the rest, that. Good pot under pressure.
20.
The hard work seems to be done.
Yeah, that was such a good shot on the green under pressure. So easy to
20.
get a little too much side on that. You naturally play it with a trace of left-hand side just to swing the cue ball round. Played it nicely. Very easy to catch that one too thick. Under pressure, that was a brilliant shot.
$32.
Luca Brecel
78.
has held his nerve and he's regained the lead. He's one frame away from a place in the final of the Riyadh Season Snooker Championship because he leads Mark Williams by 3 frames to 2.
Frame 6.
He's got
Mark Williams
terrific bottle and he believes in his own ability and his own status
quickly, please.
to be involved in snooker's biggest matches. He won't be intimidated by O'Sullivan, unlike the vast majority of the Rockets' opponents.
Yeah, I think that's certainly one of the things that stands for Mark Allen in the next game against Ronnie. He believes he can win. He believes he can beat anyone, and sometimes that's half the battle.
Just to give you some idea of what Brecel's playing for here, if he gets through, significant this. I'm back.
Yeah, and for me it was inevitable that Luca was going to find some form. He's too good not to. He's such an incredibly gifted player. And there's an effortless he makes this game look at times. Straight down, couple of little feathers, just drops the red in. No problems. Now that may be okay if that red at the back of the pack passes to this right corner, which I think it may just. Bring a few more reds into play. Yeah, delicately played. He's pushed one.
$16.
With the match on the line, thoughts of a 167 are receded, but the fact remains the golden ball is still on the table.
Yeah, it wasn't the best pack ever to go into there, although he may still have a red available to left middle, sorry.
Luca Brecel.
He didn't intend that kiss.
One.
Some pace out of the cue ball and left a really nice angle on pink, Stephen.
I don't think you can begrudge him. That's the least he deserves, Mark.
Eight.
Well, I think he had to coax it in with sides.
It only just went in off the near jaw. But again, another shot that Mark is just so good at.
16.
So consistent.
Nineteen. Mark
Williams
Williams. Five.
This is not wham.
Yeah, there you can see, just as the pressure has started to mount, as the but it doesn't take anything away from just how important this frame is for Luca Brecel. Ball to pull up. He wanted to be straight on this red, and now it's going close towards the green.
8.
So much so he wasn't even able to get.
Green ball. Luca Brecel. 8.
Much you can do with the cue ball, but just give everything to the pot, so it's a safety shot. Risks now, Luca. It's up to Mark Williams to try and force an opening. Oh, what a pot that was. Very awkward early on in this frame, which quite often you see in a decider. But there's so much at stake, isn't there? Luca's got control of the table for the time being, though.
One.
Every time Luca pots a red, it takes points away from Mark Williams. And at the minute, Mark's not really able to get himself in. He's only able to...
And it has done.
Yeah, and he was having to bounce the red into the cushion to straighten it up, so it was a very tough shot anyway. Very low percentage, the cushion as well. So this is now the opening Mark's been waiting for. Oh, but he's missed the blue with the rest. And now he needs some help, and he hasn't got it.
One.
Get out of there as quick as possible. Bring the cue back as quick as possible. He's played it very, very nicely.
9.
Just needs to fully commit.
as Williams discovered there.
Oh, that's a brilliant shot. What a shot that is.
One.
There's quite a bit of angle on this, makes this a little bit easier. Oh, but he's missed it. That is such a misjudgment.
One.
What he's just done. The only solace he can gain. Yellow, brown and blue. Oh.
He's looking for a low angle on this black, which he's found. Just play up for the yellow. It's an awkward brown and blue, but ultimately needs to develop them. So he'll take his chance here. If he has an angle to maybe flick the blue away from the cushion with this shot, he'll probably take it. If not, he'll look for an angle.
Also worth bearing in mind that the Williams problem might well be down the line the Brecel problem, balls himself.
No, he's got to be very, very precise with this cannon. Well, he's all
very different to most. Lots of running side to help the cue ball make the journey.
Just rolling up to the brown or trying to just play a delicate one away from it would have left Luca an easy opportunity to put Mark in a lot of trouble. So once again, Mark thoroughly aware of that, taking that completely out.
Both players need brown, blue and pink. So Brecel needs 3 to win. Williams needs 3 to get to 3.
Sure.
He's going out of the arena. Well, when needs must, Stephen.
Yeah, and this has been the lengthiest frame of the match so far, just creeping close to 30 minutes. You know, there's a lot of pressure out there, a lot of fluids being taken on board. It's here, Mark, if he's coming in behind this brown, that he doesn't push it over the green pocket, which is why he's going up and down. Good pace. Possibly has the same shot. He's got the up and down, or he could go in behind. This looks good. Oh, very nearly found coverage behind.
Now that opened things up.
Yeah, Luca may have a free shot at this brown now. No, he's overcut it. If you are going to miss that type of shot, overcut it, because that way it's always going to run safe. And I just wonder how a few shots of black safe, will that come into play? Will it be significant at any point?
This frame is wide open, but over the years,
that whole corner of the table is just a safe spot for the players. As long as you keep that brown somewhere near it, you're never going to leave anything. remember that re-rack with just pink and black left. That was Chris Wakelin and Matthew Selton.
Added dynamic here as well, of course. If there was a re-rack, all balls would come back up. Balls needed.
Potentially looking at doubling this brown up into the green pocket. There's a bit of a free shot with the blue being there. He has attempted it, played it at such a pace that the brown was always going to come down the cushion. Again, another example of never missing inroad.
And with the blue over that pot, always the sanctuary of playing a safety shot towards it. Oh dear me.
Luca Brecel.
Well, the only good thing for Mark is that the brown is safe. He gets to play any sort of shot, a cross double, a double. If he can get his cue ball safe, the blue's hanging waiting and it's match ball, so there's a lot of pressure on Mark now. He's put himself under it, letting off.
Two hours and counting, the match in progress. Williams has got limitless patience in this kind of situation. Another factor to take into consideration, if Brecel can pot brown and blue, as Stephen said, he would be 14 ahead. Now where the black is, getting snookers for Mark Williams off pink would be highly unlikely. So Brecel definitely in the ascendancy here.
Yeah, and it's really hard to see how either player is going to let up here, because but for anything outrageous, oh well, there's another miss from Mark.
Yeah. Miss. Luca Brecel. Could we get that, please? Still around some.
Oh, and now this makes a massive difference, because Mark Williams will be warned. He has to hit this brown now. He's trying to... Look it. It's quite risky. So So that's why he's chosen against it. No need to push the boat out here, Luca. As long as he keeps that brown in open play on the left side of the table in that corner, he can't possibly leave Mark anything. It's up to Mark to try and push the boat out here. This looks okay. He's pushed the pink out. Okay, that helps. Yeah. Bit of pace on this brown. It's close. Oh, he got so close to it, and that's the problem with that shot. You get that close at that pace, it's more than likely going to stay over the pocket. He took a gamble there, Luca.
I'm really surprised Williams missed that because he had no positional consideration whatsoever.
Yeah, very, very surprising miss. And to make matters worse, he stuck the brown up.
Brecel has been very good with the rest throughout the match, and again it comes to his assistance. That's that. That is that. Mark Williams concedes. Luca Brecel was 2-1 down. Williams was playing nicely, but the Belgian won the last 3 frames, the last of which was an absolute epic, lasting 44 minutes. Luca Brecel for the second Riyadh Season Snooker Championship.